You know a movie is good when you walk out of your theater, you sit in your car, you contemplate, and your original plan was to make a YouTube short about this movie, but then you audibly say out loud, I can't make a short about this. Welcome to the channel, all you different men and women and non-binary specimen. So last night I watched A Different Man. This is the newest A24 movie directed by Aaron Schimberg. We follow Edward, played by Sebastian Stan. He has neurofibromatosis, so his face is deformed by tumors, and he is offered a radical medical procedure to transform his appearance. Edward decides to kill his old self and start fresh. It isn't until he sees a role in a play based on his life that he tries to reclaim what was once lost and compete with another man with neurofibromatosis named Oswald, played by Adam Pearson. This premise alone was so interesting to me. And then you have Adam Pearson, who actually has neurofibromatosis. Did I say that right?
Nope.
I saw this with my brother. We left the theater just beaming about this movie. This might go up as one of the funniest movies of the year, a very introspective movie, and one that I really need to catch steam for some certain Oscar categories because it was fantastic in so many ways. Right away, makeup. Pre-medical procedure, I would not have been able to tell you that was Sebastian Stan underneath all the makeup. Having that much on your face and then yet still being able to talk, emote. I don't know. I was just stunned by that. Also, there is a scene with the makeup that borders body horror, and it was so interesting, super eerie. The other big tech that I want this movie to get is the score. Umberto Smierilli composes a score that really sets the dour mood in many parts of this movie. It has a lot of downscale progressions on piano. It's bold, it's very, very effective. And I've already expressed that my two favorite scores this year have been very synth heavy in Challengers and The Substance. So I like that I found a score this year that gets me excited about more traditional music and piano. It proves that I have taste.
Tasty.
There's great performances all around. I would love it if Sebastian Stan would get some more attention for Best Actor, possibly. I haven't seen The Apprentice yet, so I can't voice my opinion on that. And I'll admit, I've never seen Sebastian Stan in any of the MCU projects, but he captures this insecure character, Edward, beautifully. But it also helps bolster the humor post-procedure in the movie when he's paired in scenes with Adam Pearson, who is a total coin flip in personality. Oswald is someone comfortable in his own skin, and his charisma oozes into his excess skin. And Adam Pearson just plays Oswald straight. The nicest guy, just talented in everything. And you see Sebastian Stan seething more and more because Oswald's kind of OP. And then you have Renate Reinsve, who plays the love interest in the movie, Ingrid, and she's very pretty. She's a playwright that has written a play based off Edward's life because she thinks Edward is dead. But these three create one of the funniest triangular character dynamics I've seen in a while, one of the funniest love triangles. And this is a dark comedy, people. D-A-R-K, dark. My brother kept using the word diabolical. I can't argue with that. That's such the best word possible for this. There's one scene where Ingrid and Edward are shaking the sheets, and she asks him to do something very, very uncomfortable, and the couple behind us actually got up and left. But my brother and I were laughing and covering our mouths. We're awful people. We're going to hell.
Welcome to hell.
All right, let's talk themes and symbols. People are calling this the substance for men, or the substance light. And that's a little bit unfair. Sure, one body horror-ish scene and overlapping themes surrounding appearance, but these are two incredibly different movies.
I am Drew, I am Danny, and we are not the same person.
Was anyone else forced to read Franz Kafka The Metamorphosis? One day, Gregor wakes up and he's a vermin, and then he needs to adjust to his new life, and then slowly over time he is neglected, and then he dies of starvation. There's bits and pieces of this in A Different Man. There is one scene with a roach, and there's a literal overnight transformation. I feel like I'm scratching the surface a little bit here because everything else that I remember of The Metamorphosis doesn't necessarily align with A Different Man, but it's just one of those trigger things that once it was stuck in my head, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I said it earlier, but this is all about being comfortable in your own skin. So having the main character with a skin tumor condition is very perfect. It's just so interesting that after his procedure, Edward is still not comfortable in his own skin. He takes on a different persona, he kills his old self, he takes on a different name, and he thinks the surgery has just wiped his slate clean on the outside, maybe, but he's never addressed his inside. There's a leak in the apartment very early in the film, and he does not address it until it becomes such a problem that you can't ignore it. There's a similar parallel in saying that Edward really is not addressing the self hatred and insecurities that he has until it's way too late. He sees someone like Oswald that has addressed it and he is living his best life. But it's also interesting the commentary about putting in the work in order to overcome some of these issues. The physical procedure works overnight, and that same night, Edward is able to go out. He has one of the best nights of his life, but instant satisfaction is not going to work in the long run. Loving yourself does not happen overnight. I was going to knock the pacing of this movie for being a little bit rushed. There are some times where we're jumping to this time fairly quickly. Maybe things get smoothed over fairly quickly. Now that I'm like saying it out loud, it kind of makes sense why it's paced like this, because it's like the instant gratification of, oh, this happened, so this is going to happen. As if things would be going swimmingly just because he was able to go through this outside medical procedure. He'd be able to get a better job. He'd be able to get a better apartment. He'd be able to get the attention of all the women. But there is a red herring in his down the hallway neighbor, and that seems to prove all of this wrong, and Edward is not realizing that. The literal ending line of the movie is, Edward, you haven't changed a bit. And yeah, he really hasn't. Am I saying this is a movie that goes absolutely nowhere within its 2 hour time span? No. But our main character still has a lot to work through by the end of the movie, but he finally realizes that. Another sign that the issue was never anything with Edward's appearance is his relationship with Ingrid. Ingrid from the get-go is bubbly and inviting and borderline invasive, but it catches Edward off guard because no one has ever paid attention to him and no one's given him the time of day. He's so preoccupied with what his appearance might do in order to turn women away.
I'm questioning the question mark!
One of the best scenes of the movie is when Edward is showing Ingrid a project that he has acted in, and it's a video for like HR companies about how to deal with your deformed coworkers. And the funniest thing is she really couldn't give less of a shit. And this motif also comes back into that sex scene that I mentioned earlier. Appearance was never the issue. There's a typewriter that makes an appearance throughout this movie, and Edward has this certain attachment to this typewriter, even though it's nothing special. It's not important in any way. He says he found it on the street. But every time this typewriter comes up in the movie, he's fixated on it. And literally no one else is fixated on it. And I take this like the extra baggage or emotional baggage that we carry that does not matter to anyone else. It only matters to us, that we need to let go of. And Oswald is all the proof you need that it does not matter. Literally everyone wants to be Oswald's buddy. He just attracts people. And the jealousy that Edward exudes in this movie is absolutely perfect. He's jealous of Oswald and his talents, but more importantly, his charisma. And of course, the other obvious messages in the movie about how not to make people feel like the victim when they have deformities or disability, how to not make them feel like a caricature, how casting the right people in the right role when it comes to certain qualities is important, and overall, just not to be shallow in our everyday lives. Overall, y'all, A Different Man caught me off guard. It's not perfect. I think the last 15 minutes are a little bit rushed. The beginning 15 takes a little bit to find its footing. And dark humor is not going to work for everyone. Just ask the couple behind us. And I forget where I was in the movie narratively, but at one point I thought I had this movie completely figured out. Like I had planned out the rest of the movie from that point on. And I'm glad to say I was very wrong. I was subverted multiple times. I wanted to figure more of this out, and I wanted to be a part of these characters' daily lives. By the end, I was taken on a journey, one that I laughed at, one that I got emotional in, one that I was very, very invested in. And I do hope this catches steam for award season. I give A Different Man 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you for watching. My name is Kyle, and I'm still learning to fall in love with the medium of cinema. And if you want to join me on that journey with more reviews, rankings, and deep dives, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and follow me on Letterboxd. Comment below if you're going to see A Different Man, if you've already seen A Different Man, and if you are more into literature than I am, let me know if I'm onto something with this Kafka connection. Don't forget to like the video, and until next time, that's a wrap.